Okay, welcome back. First and foremost, I redid the night and I'm very happy with this. Much happier than in the last video. And quite simply, I came in here, I started toying around, and I got rid of, I suppressed this sort of very out of context cut extrude that ended up making this knight look more like a bird. And came out with this effect here where I just edited the sketch itself, and it lends itself well to the knight. It gives it more of the circular element in which a knight can encircle its opposing piece or encircle different squares around the board. So quite happy with that. We'll move right on to the queen, and my thought with this is to basically take the bishop, make it taller, and rather than just having two cutouts here and here, I'll have four, so the front and the back will add cutouts, signifying that the queen can move in many directions. So we will go over to the Bishop Rev B file, and we will save this as the queen. And we're going to do a few things within the revolve sketch that we're familiar with, so I'll just edit that, go normal to it. We're going to keep that foot height the same, the base height the same. What we want to do is increase the overall length. Let's see what happens when we go all the way up to an inch. Awesome. We need to pull this body out slightly. I wouldn't mind incorporating the rib section, the rib element that we put with the knife, the knight. We can always come back to that. First, oh yeah, here's some weird geometry. So let's see what happened there with, okay, let's go normal to that. Okay, so this was picking up some geometry that I distorted by raising the height. So let's go back and just edit this. It has a coincident, but I don't know what I don't know what it thinks it's coincident to. So let's just delete that and shift click this line, and let's say, okay, coincident. Boom, bada bing, bada boom. All right, and exit the sketch. Cool, everything's fine. Now, what we're going to do here is something, again, I could redraw everything I want to from this plane. We're going to actually go in here and copy this geometry. So I'm just going to go edit, copy, exit the sketch. Now I need to also set up a plane to draw this on, so I can't draw it on my front plane. That's what I drew this extrude cut on. How about the right plane? Yes, awesome. So on the right plane, we'll just go normal to that, and we'll start a sketch, and we'll go edit paste. And I expected that. The paste function usually centers around the origin of the part or the sketch or the plane. So this will be fine. We'll first of all want to just define some of these parts so that when we move them they don't get too wonky. And how about the distance between there and there? That's going to overcomplicate it, so just hit cancel. Alright, let's see what we're left with. I'm going to highlight right to left. Okay, it's not picking. I'll just shift select my geometry, Dragon. The only thing I notice here about SolidWorks compared to AutoCAD is in AutoCAD that would select the whole sketch. Ah, there we go. It just took a minute for my the colors to change. So let's just right up here on move entities. I could also use in the search command move entity showed up. So, and under here, the little drop down, I do move, copy, rotate, scale, and stretch. So let's just click on move. And now it's going to say, okay, in XY direction. And you can see it moving across there. XY. And I could do Y, but the problem is I'll be left guessing exactly how much I'm moving that up because I didn't take note how much I actually lengthened this. And anyway, so we'll just get this back down to 0, and then we'll do from to. So it's saying, okay, you want to move them from where? I'll go right there. And now you want to move it to where? And see how it's snapping right on this line here? I'm snapping to that line, and then hopefully I can get it to, I'll tell you what, first let's move it there. And now let's see if I can select that point and say coincident to that outside body. Looks good. I don't think anything out of the ordinary happened. Let's try to give this a cut extrude and see what happens. This might be too easy, finally. And we'll go, if you recall, through all. So I could do through all here. I could do through all here. Or you can just say through all both, and it completes it for me. Let's see what we got. Unable to create this feature because it would result in 0 thickness geometry. Okay, I feel like when I did the move, something didn't quite gel right. So what we're going to do is go to undo. We're still in that sketch. I'm going to redraw that because I'm just not happy with it. So get our normal up, and I know exactly how I drew it before. That point to that point, enter, enter, enter. That point to that point, enter, enter, enter. Oh, I don't need another line, I need a 3-point arc. Point, point, radius, point, point, radius. Okay, now we want to get to extruded cut from the sketch. Selected contours, this one, and through all both. This may not work. I have another idea of what went wrong. Let's see here. Oh, it worked. Hey, and that's not bad. That is very regal. That's very becoming of a queen. I can live with that all coming to a point. I don't need a ball up there, something difficult. Too much decoration. Let's throw it in the assembly and see what it looks like. Insert components. Queen. Oh yeah. Maybe too pronounced. There we go, concentric, and drag it up so I can actually see the bottom. Give it, coincident, check mark, check mark. You know what? That's not bad. Not bad at all. The bishop, if anything, could stand to be a little bit taller. But it's nice progression. I could bring down the queen a little bit, but we can leave that for when we fill out the rest of the board. And now for the king, I'm going to do more of a take on the rook and the knight. Basically, I'm thinking a tall knight with maybe decoration on the crown, but it'd have to be very stylized and very simple. So I think what we'll do is just leave that for the next video and give that some thought. So there we have it. The board is really filling out. In fact, let's go ahead and throw some more pieces in here. So one very interesting tip here for inserting components. Notice this little push pin right here. If I push in that push pin, then I can multi-drop pawns and pieces, and I don't have to go back and click insert components again and again and again. So that is a very, very nice feature. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and well, now I can throw in another knight, another bishop, another rook, and we're good. Now, unfortunately, I will have to come in and mate all of these, but that's okay. Not a problem. It's entertaining while you do it. You know, the animations that SolidWorks provide to you are mesmerizing. So, then really, instead of doing look this way, look that way, I could have just created a reference plane that is 1/4 inch below the board, and it's a lot easier to snap to. There's always a better way to do it. That's the point with SolidWorks. You will constantly be discovering better ways to do things with SolidWorks. And most of the time, the better solution was there all along. From year to year, they do come out with improvements. But even if you use SolidWorks every single day for the next year and work on a variety of different projects, every week you will learn a new, better way to do something, at least. That's after you've been doing it for a year. In the first year, you're fortunately or unfortunately going to find better ways to do things every day or every time you repeat a process. And you'll find your comfort level and you'll find your best efficiency. Oh, I wondered if that pawn was a little too tall. There we go. Awesome. And now we can just rotate the bishop. Click OK. Let's go ahead and save this. We put a lot of work into it tonight. And you've noticed when I click Save All, it automatically saved this queen because it is part of this assembly. So, and that is really looking like a sharp chess set. So we can get into some things. And I could edit some, I could add some materials, and we can get into real view graphics, and this would be really, really cool. You can start playing with different backgrounds, different lighting effects will show up. There we go, softer edges, get rid of those hard lines. There you go. That's what this chess set might look like in the middle of this courtyard. Awesome. And in an urban setting, I'll have to play around and figure out how to change. I don't know if you ever really do change the height of that board so it's sitting on the ground. One drawback of some of these. But if you have larger items, you know, imagine if you were working on a vehicle it would sit nicely, especially in this parking lot setting. So anyway, and there's lighting just from a room. I think the default is the 3-point faded. So it's kind of just floating in space. Not too distracting. Overall, very happy with this chess set. Save it one more time, just in case. I'll catch you next time where we will model the king, and we may get into display states. So obviously I'll have a contrasting set of pieces, and then we'll do the video after that. Finally, as far as SolidWorks really goes, is rendering and exporting these files as STLs, and then we will look at 3D printing options. And after that, I'll wait till they come in the mail, or we might 3D print some here at home. Just really exciting stuff here. It's really coming along. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for being patient with me through all the revisions. Really appreciate it. Have a great night.